I will explain the Ippon-dori technique of Daito-ryu Aikijujutsu. The opponent is holding his sword right in front of your eyes. He steps in quickly, raising his sword over his head to cut you in half from your head to a point between your thighs. He steps in with full power and attacks like this. The technique is to respond to this attack with empty hands. It is important to keep in mind that you will be defeated if you receive his attack with this kind of posture. He will attack with full power and you will be defeated. Or if he attacks with a tanto instead of a sword, he will attack like this. Again, if you receive the attack like this, you will surely be overwhelmed by his strength. Please do not receive his attack in this way. As I explained in the beginning, there are 6 basic principles. What is important is how to incorporate each of these basic principles in each technique. If the basic principles are not present, it will not be possible to execute the technique. So as I explained before concerning the basics, you can perceive the yin of your opponent and enter at that instant. He is holding his sword right in front of your eyes. This is yang. When he swings up his sword, it is yin. So you step in at this moment of yin. Breathing in involves 2 phases, breathing in and breathing out. So when we breathe out, it is yang, and when we hold our breath, it is also yang. It is yin when we breathe in. Therefore, you step in at the moment of yin. I step in at the moment of yin, perceiving things such as his breathing and movements. Now is the moment when he raises his sword. He holds his sword in front of your eyes and swings down. He brings up the sword first and then cuts down. When he swings up the sword, it is yin, and when he cuts down, it is yang. So you step in with yin. You step in when he swings his sword up. If you do this, you do not need any force at all. So you step in. You pierce the open spot in his armor at the armpit with the tanto, a wakizashi, or a yoroi-doshi. You make a fist with your protruding middle finger and pierce with it. Without moving your hips up and down and keeping the same posture, you bring your opponent off balance into your center. You bring him off balance into your center. Your right hand is held against the base of the thigh, pressing against the back of the wrist. Your left hand applies pressure against the nerve point on his elbow. You apply pressure against the back of his wrist and his elbow. You attack him with both hands. Then you kick his side with your left foot. You kick from the same posture without moving your hips up or down. Your knee pushes on his side, and your left hand presses the nerve point on his elbow. Your right hand presses the back of his wrist. You attack him at 3 points and then execute an atemi. While you apply zanshin, you give your all. Remain there giving your all and control your opponent so that he cannot attack you. The next Ippon-dori is a technique added by Headmaster Tokimune to Daito-ryu techniques for beginners. This is exactly the same as the first technique, but this time you step in with the right foot instead of the left foot. In the first Ippon-dori technique, you stepped in with your left foot. You came into contact with your opponent with your left foot forward and off-balanced him. This time, you step in with your right foot. Step in with your right foot. Originally, a common sense principle of martial arts is to step into the outside of your opponent. But with this technique, you step into the front side. Please be very careful to enter at the moment of yin. When you come into contact with your opponent, you unbalance him. You come into contact and bring him off balance. This is the same with all techniques we are going to do now. We execute the techniques as we breathe out. Also, with this technique, you bring him down into your center and unbalance him. You apply pressure to the same points as in the previous technique. You kick the same place too. As you did in the previous technique, after executing an atemi, after you execute a finishing blow, at the very end you bring your hand to this position over your head. I will explain about this. You curve the arm in this manner over your head. Do not expose your armpit. You put your arm over your head with the feeling that you are closing your armpit tightly. This is a form of zanshin while holding a kodachi or short sword in your hand at the end of the technique. The next technique is Ippon-dori Ura. Basically, you bring your opponent off balance at the moment you come into contact with him. However, in case you misjudge the timing and are late, you can make use of the opponent's yang. You take his yang power and add it to your yang. Then, you control him.